I'm Kate Ritter, a licensed psilocybin facilitator with Prism Bend. Today I'm joined by Jillian, who's going to share a little bit about her recent licensed psilocybin journey with me in Bend, Oregon. Hi, Jillian. Thanks so much for joining me. Let's dive in and begin with the first question of what called you to experience a licensed psilocybin journey?
Yeah, my husband did it first. Um, and he had amazing things to say about it, so I went ahead and jumped in after him. Um, but I had been microdosing for a couple of years with psilocybin and getting really great results, just like thinking clearer, being more focused, more creative, less I was exhibiting less like negative thought patterns and behavior patterns too. And right before I had decided to do the psilocybin journey, I was working on different beliefs with myself. And one of them was that I could experience pain-free days, basically. I've had chronic pain for most of my life in my right shoulder. And I just started to work with that belief. And I thought, well, if anything can help me, I think a psilocybin journey might be able to. And so I wanted to give it a try and take the leap.
Yeah. Well, and so you've had experience with other psychedelics and other, I guess, settings of psychedelics too, and you've tried many different modalities. How did you feel like this type of therapeutic, license experience compared to some of those other experiences and modalities?
Yeah. So the psychedelic experience that I had was recreational. And it was in college and it was just like, one more thing to try and do. So it was definitely not a therapeutic container, I'd say. It was fun, had a good time. But yeah, I've been in the healing space for a really long time. And I've been in different kinds of containers, whether it's coaching or energy work. I held containers myself. I teach people how to use sound as a therapeutic way to relieve stress and many other things. Um, and so this experience was, with the licensed journey, it was there was that container where worked with you asked me to set intentions,
Yes.
set an intention, and um yeah, it was a very safe, sacred space. I felt like from the first integration call, or from the first prep call to the last integration call. And so I felt really prepared for the experience. And it wasn't willy nilly. Like it was just very intentional. Like I was going in with a purpose. And yeah, that just felt a lot different than the recreational experiences. But it also, as far as like the other healing containers I've been in, it was like one big container. It was just usually I'm in one-off sessions like in for an hour, but this was like over the course of a few weeks of being in your container. And so it just felt really um, purposeful and intentional and therapeutic.
Good. I love that. I try to make it as intentional and also organized, right? Like throughout the whole process. And so it's a lot of site links and things like that that take you to more resources and videos. And, we had spent 2 hours doing two 1 hour Zoom preparation sessions before your journey. And we talked quite a bit about intentions and also, some writing exercises, things like writing a letter to psilocybin.
Mm.
And do you want to share a little bit about setting intentions and how you feel those intentions played a role throughout your journey?
Like having an intention is so powerful because it was like so precise and direct. So my intention was to understand my chronic pain pattern. And I wrote the letter to psilocybin, and I can't remember exactly what I said in that initial letter, but I remember the day of just being really anticipatory and a little bit nervous. I started to kind of come down with this like cold or virus, and I wasn't feeling well at all. And I had actually considered reaching out to you and saying, I'm not coming. And but I told myself, like, okay, if I have a fever, I won't go. But if I don't have a fever, I'm going. There must be some kind of purpose to this. I don't know what it would be. This feels awful. I don't want to do it. I was very resistant, but I still went. And I remember, just a way to like settle myself down, I got out my journal and I wrote to psilocybin. Um, this might sound strange, but I wrote to it like from my future self who had already completed the experience. And I wrote down the things I was grateful for. And I wrote down that I was grateful for like the cathartic emotional release. I was grateful for it showing me my magic. Um, there was something else. Um, but that just really helped to settle things down. And lo and behold, throughout the experience, it was amazing because I had a moment. I remember saying to you, "Oh, like this is why I'm sick. This is why I'm not feeling well, because in order for psilocybin to really work with me to its like most optimal capacity, I had to be laid flat out on my back." And that's what I did like the whole experience. I was just like, Cate, I'm going to be tired. I'm just going to lay down. Like, I'm just going to have this experience. And it was amazing. And it really like, I think oh yeah, I asked for a nervous system reset um,
Mm.
to begin with. And it was like a full nervous system reset. I felt um, the psilocybin working in my fascia, releasing patterns of tension in my fascia. Um, and at one point, after there was that, I did have a cathartic emotional release that felt, it didn't feel like it was my emotions or my pain. I was connected to it. It was ancestral pain that was coming up and out of my body. And it was amazing. I was crying so hard, but I was like, this is amazing. Because it was like, it was just that release. It was incredible. But I remember at one point too, after all of that, I started to feel into my magic of like, well, who am I? Like, what am I doing in this body and in this life? And just felt another ancestral connection. And I remember saying, like, oh my gosh, it's showing me my magic. And it was exactly what I had been grateful for before I had the experience. So, yes, very precise when it comes to the intentions that I set. And yeah, I'm still blown away.
Can you take us a little bit into your journey? Like, what stands out most when you're looking back on it today?
Yeah, so I definitely understood the chronic pain pattern. It showed me very clearly what was happening on an ancestral level, on a familial level, on the who I am as a person and why I've carried this pain. And when I was setting the initial intention, I had written down, I want to understand it, but really I was like, I want to get rid of it. Like, I don't want to have chronic pain anymore. But I also didn't want to set myself up for um, disappointment if I didn't relieve myself of the chronic pain. I'm happy to say that I haven't had pain since that experience. And that was a few weeks ago, right? Maybe 3 weeks ago now.
Yeah. Yeah, that's wonderful. I love
Yeah.
hearing that.
Yeah. Like I'll still get like some tight shoulders, but it's postural. And it's once I'm out of that posture, I do some stretching, it's gone. And what used to happen was my body would just be in this holding pattern of
Mhm.
stress and tension, and it just wouldn't let go and it wouldn't let go. And yeah, I just lived with it every day. But now it's like I can work it out, stretch a little bit, and it's gone. It's like my body is not holding that pattern anymore.
That's
So
beautiful.
yeah, amazing.
Yeah. Well, good. And how have you been feeling since your journey? Like, let's continue with this. Like, you haven't had pain. Like, anything else improving there as far as your relationship with yourself, others, your clients, even?
Yeah. I'd say, well, my nervous system is definitely different. Like I don't get as irritated or annoyed. And I'm just overall more grounded and more connected and present. So yeah, I'm just showing up differently in all aspects. Like I'm allowing myself more time in the morning to just connect with myself. I don't have this kind of like busy, hurried, like we got to get on with the day type of thing. That's like, no, this time is the foundation for the rest of the day. And that's really become clear and apparent to me. And I feel like I can relax in that time. Um, and then yeah, with my clients, I feel more connected, more present. And I'm also, because I had that experience, um, that deep like healing and transformation, the capacity that I now have to hold space for other people is much larger. And like, I was like, there's not as much efforting
Mm-hmm.
I'm noticing as a practitioner. I didn't mean to have that before. I didn't mean to have like an efforting in my work with people or like an agenda or like needing them to have particular results. But I think on some level I was. And now it's just, yeah, everything feels much simpler, but
Yeah.
more powerful because of that simplicity and
Mm-hmm.
the groundedness. Yeah, it's like there was a part of me that was kind of always like reaching or striving or like trying to, I don't even know how to explain it, but yeah, I just feel so much more relaxed. And I think that's making more of an impact
Yeah.
in every area of my life.
I love to hear that. And you've also gotten some positive feedback from family and some from clients as well, and
Yeah,
even friends too. So
yeah, I
that's
have.
always good confirmation to hear as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I taught a class this past weekend and the students kept saying like I'm here because of you, because of how grounded you are. I just love the way that you teach. Like, I just am really enjoying this weekend. And one woman came up to me and she was just like, everything you say is just like it hits me and so powerful. And I was just like, thank you for saying that because and I let her know. I was like, I I let go of efforting this weekend. And so it's nice to hear that I still have an impact, even when I'm not, you know, striving for it or reaching for it. So thank you. That was really nice to hear.
Yeah, I love that. And what beautiful reflection too, and from a client who didn't have to say that, but really
Yeah.
resonated with you and your energy.
Yeah. Hmm.
So, great. And backing up a little bit too to kind of your journey day and arriving at the service center space at Bendable in downtown Bend. Can you tell us a little bit about what it was like arriving at the service center, what the space was like, what it felt like to kind of be there for the duration of the day as well?
Yeah. Well, like I said, I was a little bit nervous, which I'm sure maybe most people are when they, are coming to a psilocybin journey. Um, and I had been in this space before because I picked up my husband.
Yeah.
And so I was already familiar. Um, yeah, I walked in, felt welcomed. I felt like it was my space, even though you were there and the woman from Bendable was there, Tatum. Um, but you both were just so clear that like this is for you. Like this is a space where you don't have to take care of anybody or do anything except be taken care of. And that was really, really nice. And at one point during the experience when I was like crying so much, I got worried that there wasn't going to be enough tissues. And you said something, you were like, we have an infinite amount of tissues. And I was like, okay, good. So then I let go. I was, so that caretaker, still wanted to come
Yeah.
in and worry about things, but you both were just so great about that. Um, and at the very end of the experience, I just wanted to stay there because it was so comfortable and it felt like my space. And, so yeah, I really enjoyed the space. It was really nice. I was a little bit, worried about not being like not having the outdoor part, but I really didn't need that. You brought in so many elements of nature that it wasn't something that I missed. So that was really
Good.
nice.
Yeah. Well, I love to hear that too, because we want it to feel like a healing sanctuary that's your space for the day, right? To take up space, move around, express yourself freely, and to not have to do anything but be able to focus inward on yourself and allow yourself to be cared for. So that's nice. And
Yeah.
a lot of people have hesitations about, having a journey indoors, especially people that have done it recreationally or underground. And so I do my best to bring in as much of the outdoors inside as I can. So we brought some fresh wildflowers from my garden, and we even brought in some fresh peppermint leaves and things like that to help in case there was nausea. And then I spray also Douglas fir essential
Yeah.
oil to kind of make you feel like you're in a forest during the peak of your journey.
Yeah, that was nice.
Do you want to talk at all about kind of the dosing that we chose and the methods that we chose? Because uh, we had some concerns about nausea in the beginning. And first, I wanted to ask, like, did you have any nausea throughout your experience?
I think there was a moment where like my stomach cramped and I thought I was like, oh, here we go. But it passed as quickly as it came.
Yeah.
So there was no nausea, which was awesome.
Yeah, and so we purposely chose to have your initial dose be capsules because they're a little easier to digest, a little faster onset too. And for your secondary or booster dose, we did whole mushrooms of a strain called Shakti, which I have a feeling you want to share a little bit about how much you resonated with Shakti.
Yeah.
So if you could recap that, no nausea.
Yeah.
And what those strains were like, and did you feel comfortable having capsules and then some whole mushrooms? Anything there
Yeah.
you want to share?
Yeah. I mean, that was a really pleasant experience with just the capsules. I felt like the anxiety that I had just sort of washed away. I felt way more settled in my body. I felt like I had to pee a lot. And I just felt like it was very gentle. Like that first dose was so gentle, and like psilocybin was just helping me release and cleanse in just the most like graceful, um, gentle way. And then decided to take the booster dose of Shakti, which was delicious. I was not expecting the mushrooms to taste so good. Like I was like, I would have these on my salad. They're really good. Um, and then you kept track of time. I didn't really keep too much track of time, but Shakti was also really, really gentle. Um, yeah, and just worked with me on more of a body level. Um, so I wasn't expecting the body experience so much that I had with Shakti.
Yeah,
Um, it was so cool.
good, good. And having other experiences before with psychedelics too, what was, I'd say, the biggest difference for you working with someone like myself that is licensed and professionally trained and there with you not just in preparation and integration, but throughout the whole journey day? Did anything there stand out for you as far as, the playlist I created or the notes
Mhm.
I took or even the pictures, right, that we took ahead of time before you got into an altered state and of course consented to
Yeah.
first, but anything you want to share about just having a licensed, professional guide with you throughout this process? Anything there that stood out for you?
Yeah, I thought about that and I was like, this is something I could do out if I got a cabin in the woods or like something like that. I could do it, but I I would be thinking about different things like, well, what's that sound out there? Or like, I don't know, like, is somebody going to come to the door? Or, I don't know. Having you as a licensed facilitator, I didn't have to focus on anything but the experience I was having and the journey. And that felt again, very therapeutic. And yeah, I just felt really taken care of.
Mm.
Even if like I had to go to the bathroom and like you were there to make sure I got there okay. Fortunately, I did. Like I wasn't in a like that altered of a place where I couldn't, but just knowing that like, okay, Cate could get me to the bathroom if I had to go to the bathroom. The endless supply of tissues was amazing. Yeah, like when you're not thinking about having to record the experience yourself, you can just be in it. So
Mhm.
that was nice to have you there taking notes. I didn't say a whole lot. I don't think in the beginning. It was really at the peak where like things were really happening and the purge was the emotional purge was coming on is when I was just like, oh my gosh, this is amazing and telling you what was going on. So it was nice to have you there witnessing that big experience too. And then what I really loved at the end was the grounding. And I was feeling a little bit like, oh, I'm not ready to go out into the world yet. And you were just so like, you're like, we're good. Like, that was your energy. Like, it's okay. Like, I've got you. You don't have to leave yet. There's no hurry. But what you did when you read back some of your notes,
Mm.
that was so grounding to me because I just had this huge experience and it was like massive and it was amazing, but having you read them back was like, wow, that really happened. Like,
Yeah.
and somebody was here to witness it. Like it's not something, not that I don't know if I would think that I made it up, but it just made it that more real. And that I could embody that experience more than maybe had I not had that. So that was really helpful.
So I'd like to talk a little bit too about the playlist. How did the playlist influence your journey? Were there particular songs that you like? Did that help with the emotional processing? Do you mind sharing a little bit more about that?
Yeah, the playlist was awesome. They were never songs that I had heard before,
Mm.
which I think was a good thing because I didn't have any like prior memory or, emotional response to any of those songs. So it was just like yeah, the songs that were playing in real time was just like just pure potential and energy at that point. But yeah, when I started to peak was when the music got really, really good. Um, but there was one song that we played how many times? Maybe I was like, keep playing it, keep playing it, keep playing it. Probably like
I think it was 15 times. I
15
think
times.
that might have been a record
Yeah.
actually. But it's one of my favorite songs called Heart Dust,
Yeah.
and oh, it's just amazing.
I love it. I loved it. What happened was when that song started was when all the emotion started coming up. It was like the deep purge that I
Mm.
had been wanting. I didn't even know I wanted it, but I wanted it. Um, and the more we played it, just the more that came out, the more that came out, the more that came. And then I think at one point, probably at the 15th time, you're like, I think you're gonna like the other songs too. And I did. It was
Yeah.
like you started playing those. I was like, you're right, Cate. This is a great song.
Yeah,
um,
but sometimes you get that song and it helps things open up
oh
and
man.
flow in a
Yeah.
way that maybe you couldn't do in any other methods.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
Mm.
And I took that chunk of the playlist and I created my own playlist from it. And I'm still listening to it every day. It's about a 30-minute playlist, but it touches, it strikes a chord in me that yeah, not much, nothing else can really get to. And that yeah, that's the power of music, isn't it?
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I love that you're, utilizing your playlist in that way, adapting it to fit your schedule, right? And what works best for you. So I
Yeah.
love that. Was there anything else from our integration sessions that really helped you process and make sense of your journey and the experience itself?
Yeah. I mean, just having the check-ins. Yeah, especially the last one that we had, which was yesterday. It was a tough day in the beginning of the day before the call. And having the check-in with you was like, oh, this too is part of the work. This too is psilocybin teaching me. And so I can, instead of resisting the experience that I had that morning, which was, it was stressful and it was creating some turmoil. Instead of resisting in it, I could decide to flow with it and be with it and really kind of embrace who I wanted to be. I asked you, Cate, I want to continue working with you just because I think it's for me to continue to have that kind of support um, is really important instead of just kind of, I can be intentional and I can be purposeful on my own, but having somebody else as like a checkpoint every now and then to just reflect back to me that like, I'm doing good work. There's, yeah, there's opportunities and lessons every day. I think, yeah, that'd be really helpful. So I'm going to keep working with you.
I love that. Well, more time with you is happy time for me. So,
Yay.
um, and I love too that you've really put a lot of these lessons from your journey into action in day-to-day life. And, things like creating the 30-minute playlist from your playlist that you can listen to, like creating a new morning routine, things like that, that help you slow down and be more mindful and connect with yourself. And, so many of us try and do it all ourselves, especially us women. And so it's
Yeah.
nice to have that support and have someone guiding you and helping you shift perspective, but also empowering you in your own healing process, right? Psilocybin I look at as more of a teacher and a tool, and myself, I'm hopefully a teacher and a guide in the process. But we're really there to hold space for you to tune into your inner healing intelligence and get those answers that you can't get through Google or YouTube videos or ChatGPT or any of that stuff. So
Yeah. Yeah.
I think it also says a lot about how much inner work you've been doing for decades now, that you had this type of experience and are receiving relief, especially with chronic pain that you've dealt
Yeah.
with your whole life. That's huge.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. All the work that I have done up until this point, I mean, I could see how much it mattered and how equipped I was to have the experience that I did and move ancestral pain through my own body. Um,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. I think at one point I was like, I was made for this. And yeah, it was just, yeah, amazing experience.
Okay, good. And if someone was considering a licensed psilocybin journey, what advice would you tell them? What would you want them to know about this experience? Let's say they've never had any psychedelic experience before.
I'd say nerves and anticipation are normal. Um, you know, um, I don't know if I would exactly compare it to this, but maybe for people who might enjoy skydiving, I wouldn't enjoy skydiving, but it's like, it's an experience that you have that is going to change your life.
Mhm.
And it's not an experience that you would maybe normally give yourself or have, but there's going to be anticipation, of course, with the jump. And but on the other side of it, you're going to be so glad that you did it. Like I am so glad that I did it. It was the best investment that I made besides maybe our espresso machine, but I
I'll
plan to
take
keep
it. Hey, that's pretty good, right? Next to the espresso machine.
right. I plan to keep doing it, like if not twice a year, then more than that. Because I just think for me, it's so important as someone who is a healer, who holds space for other people, who guides people, is to have that kind of experience. That's just, you know, um, I don't even know what to call it. It just can help me really deeply connect with myself and yeah, be able to hold space for other people. Yeah, I loved
I
it.
love that.
Yeah.
And you mentioned something yesterday too about how psilocybin feels like a healer for healers.
Yeah.
I love
Yeah.
that too.
Yeah. Because of that, because I think when you have such a big experience like that, your capacity to hold space for others and their own transformation just
Mhm.
expands.
Yeah.
Um, and there's no need to control. You just let things flow and you trust. I think that's one of the things that I really learned was like surrender and trust. And I'm really happy with what those two things did for me.
Good, good.
Yeah.
And this is a tough question. But if you could sum up your journey in a word or a phrase, what might that be?
Oh gosh, my journey would be I don't have to hold it all.
Mm.
And it's okay for me to trust, surrender, and flow.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. Anything else you want to share before we wrap up this call today?
Oh, just if there's somebody out there thinking about it and they feel the call, just reach out. Just have that first conversation, start the conversation. I know you offer something that's non-committal. So just have the conversation, open up
Yeah.
that space and see where it takes you.
Jillian, thank you again for joining me today and sharing about your experience. I really appreciate you, and I'm looking forward to staying connected.
Thanks, Cate. Me too. I appreciate you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you.